This be crazy.
And now, a three-time sports editor, former online and managing editor, and host of Talk That Talk, award-winning journalist Terrell Chatterbox Emerson.
Welcome to it. Welcome to it. It is Thursday night. It is time for the Talk That Talk radio show. I am your host, Terrell Chatterbox Emerson. I am in studio on this beautiful Thursday night with Freddie Crew. with Markel Collins. I seen it. I've been thinking about it since the moment I saw you. So it's your fault.
It's crazy because I usually get Where's Waldo. My girl's mom. She definitely calls me Where's Waldo all the time. So
That's hilarious.
Freddy Krueger.
At least it's a little switch up.
Something different.
A little change of speed.
I'll take it. Whatever.
Welcome to it, guys. Thursday episode of the Talk That Talk radio show. I am your host, Terrell Chatterbox Emerson. That is Markel Collins. We got a good 2 hours of sports lined up for you guys. We got some baseball to actually start off with. I'm actually into the studio fresh off of an Aviator game. That's pretty much what it's going to be for the next 6 months. So that's what I'll be in the middle of. So we'll get it started with my mom's tip in. We'll get some of the announcements out of the way. Bigger than that, Kale, how was your week, brother? I haven't talked to the people since last Thursday.
Oh well, yeah, it's been good. I'm 110% this week. If that's
no more sniffling and coughing and whatever else you were doing.
There was no sniffles. There was a little slight little it was a little bit of that
over there.
But yeah, I'm good though, man. Another week, man. Happy. Got the Nighthawks back, man.
Man.
Got the Aviators back, man. It's a good time of the year. It's always a weird time when we enter the summer period, the spring summer period in the whole sports world. You got spring college football, so it's not really too much going on with that. Started to think about the NFL, but it's still too early. But it's baseball time right now. So
it is. And matter of fact, let's get to some of the logistics of the show really quick before we get a little too far into it. But really quick again, guys, welcome to our Thursday installment of the Talk That Talk radio show. I'm over here looking at these cameras right now. If you guys would like to watch a live episode of the Talk That Talk radio show on Mondays 3 to 5 and on Thursdays 10 to midnight, you can do so by going to YouTube, going to the search bar, typing in Talk That Talk radio show. Once again, go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Talk That Talk radio show. It's pretty much the same across every platform. It's the same on Apple Music, the same on Apple Podcasts, same on Spotify, the same on Facebook, and the same on Instagram. The one thing that would be different is our Twitter. Our Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. Once again, our Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. And again, this show is being shot from the beautiful studio here at the Harry Reid Research and Technology Park here on Sunset, here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today is the 21st episode of season 7. Let's get to it, Kale. Let's get to it, brother. The Aviators participated in game number 3, scheduled 6 tonight against the Sacramento River Cats. I do have my score sheet in my bag. I have a lot of notes to give you guys. Not so much just solely about tonight's game, but I had a conversation with Fran Reardon before the game. Manager Fran Reardon. I was kind of just picking his brain a little bit about what he saw from the opening series against Reno. And one of the things that I wanted to do, Fran told me last year, and I believe you were here when he said it. I talked to him about sweeping the team at some point, and he was like, "Hey, during these 6-game series, that's probably not going to happen. We won't see too many sweeps in those settings." However, the open to the year was a 3-game series against Reno. Now, Reno was last year's second half winner, and Reno took 11 of 21 games against the Aviators. So that's about as split as you can get. And I made it a point to kind of ask Fran. I was trying to read the room, but I made it a point to kind of ask Fran a little bit about it. And I was like, I know you don't view 6-game series as like a missed opportunity for and by the way, I do have my mom's tip in to still get to. We'll get to some of this baseball news first. Maybe before we get to the athletics, we'll get to my mom's tip in. But I was talking to a friend about it, and I was like, basically, you have an opportunity, or you had an opportunity to secure a series win. And in game one, the Aviators looked like a strong defensive team, right? Starting with the pitcher all the way to the guys that are in the field, right? But I do have some numbers to get to on that because JT Ginn went on opening night and he also went tonight as well. So I'll give you some numbers on JT in a quick second. But when I was talking to Fran, I was like, so you had an opportunity to obviously kind of put your foot on their necks early to kind of show them, hey, right out the gate, I know you guys won the second half. We take the first 3 games of the series of the season. And I was a little surprised for Fran to kind of admit, like, it wasn't necessarily a missed opportunity, but yeah, you're probably not going to sweep them in 6. So if you were going to sweep them at any time, it was probably that 3. That was the one to go get. But still 2 up, 1 down wasn't a bad start to the season. And then they pick up this particular series with back-to-back wins against Sacramento. They dropped tonight's game to Sacramento 4-2 in extra innings. But if you wanted to get to JT Ginn really quick, try to see if I can do this from memory. He went 5 innings in the opener, 5 scoreless innings of 1 hit ball, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. Tonight, he tallied a career high 11 strikeouts in a no decision. Ultimately, it was a 2-run extra inning loss for Vegas, but it's looking like we finally got some arms down there.
I mean, yeah, I think, that was the question we asked coming into the season. We know the team can score, but like it's just pitching. Like that's been the constant problem. Like, you don't want to go into games knowing that you can score 10 runs, but you're going to give up 11 runs. You don't want to necessarily put yourself in that situation. But knowing that we, I feel like as a starting pitcher for any level, getting 10 plus strikeouts.
Facts.
I mean, that's got to feel like wonderful in more than one way. So, I mean, yeah, I feel like the team is off to a pretty solid start to start the season off. Granted, it's super, super, super early. There's no grind like a baseball season, but I feel like right now I like what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good, right? I mean, actually in that first series, really quick, because I did have a chance to ask Fran Riordan about it tonight too. The bullpen has kind of been one of the things that has been pitched to me, no pun intended, as the biggest change for this group. And maybe JT did get the loss tonight. Maybe let me go back and double check. I have to triple check. I'll get back to you guys on that right now. But really quick, going back to what you said about the arms. So the bullpen here in Vegas, yes, and as I thought he did leave with a no decision tonight. But I do want to get to JT's numbers really quick. Combined numbers on the season so far. He's given up 2 runs in 11 innings of work on the mound, 5 hits, and his ERA is sitting at 1.64. I believe in the 6th inning tonight, after recording the second out of the inning, his ERA was sitting at 0.87. Just to give you guys an idea of how much JT has been dealing to start the year. But the bullpen has been pitched to me as kind of the most improved portion of this team. First time out, first collection out, I should say, in terms of that opening series against Reno. The bullpen goes out. It does give up 11 runs. However, 7 of those 11 runs were earned runs, and they did so in 15 in the 3rd inning of work. So pretty good numbers from your bullpen. They did pick up 14 strikeouts. I want to say 14 strikeouts with a save that actually went to Elvis Alvarado. So the bullpen appears to be better established and more sustainable at this point. Again, when I had the conversation with Fran Riordan, the story is already up on talkthattalkradio.com. It went up earlier tonight at the game, but There's you kind of just alluded to it a second ago. There's an energy in Las Vegas ballpark where runs are going to be scored. And to start this season, I've seen 4-3 games. Tonight I saw a 4-2 game. I believe it was 1-0. 1-0 into the fifth inning. So not necessarily what Las Vegas ballpark has proven to be over the past couple of seasons, but at least tonight, or at least tonight as a or in addition to what was that, 4 games before? Am I wrong? 5 games before. It gives you guys a little idea about what changes have been made to this Aviator roster and where some of the focus is. On opening day for the Athletics, which we're about to get to in a second, I noticed that, and I told you guys will see me do it probably until next year, because the numbers are what the numbers are. But I had covered everybody in the Las Vegas, or excuse me, in the Athletics opening day lineup, with the exception of one, which was Brent Rooker, right? Other than that, I've covered everybody else that was in that starting lineup. So I asked Fran Reardon, I was like, well, over the last couple of seasons, there's been a lot of movement. There's been a lot of guys going up, a lot of guys coming back down, a lot of guys getting DFA'd. I mean, you had Esteury Ruiz actually was just traded yesterday to the Dodgers. And it's similar to what I've said before about Bill Belichick. If Bill Belichick calls me about a 4th string tight end, I'm starting him. If the Yankees call me about a developmental pitcher in Double-A, I'm calling him up. Because, usually you guys see something that we don't. And that's kind of the way I feel about Esteury Ruiz. Already holds the AL record for most stolen bases in a rookie season. I believe it was 67. And now you're going to the Dodgers. So there goes that. But I had an opportunity to ask Fran if he felt like, just at least obviously on paper coming into the season, did it feel like he would be able to keep a bulk of his guys for a bulk of the season? He said, as of right now, that's what it feels like. He said the entire organization has gotten better. Everybody has kind of been able to kind of position themselves in the right spot as a result of that. And he said because of that, he's expecting to see his guys for a decent amount of the year. But he did say there's some opportunities this season for those guys to go up there to that major league level and also make some noise.
Most definitely. I mean, yeah, Brett Rooker got his 3rd home run of the season today. I think that I feel like he's definitely going to provide that veteran presence for this very, very, very young team. So just knowing that you got a steady bat like that in the lineup, I feel like that's definitely going to help the team in the long run. Granted, a lot of these young guys are going to have to grow up very, very fast. I mean, this series it was definitely tough for him playing against a loaded Cubs team. So
yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, so in terms of the Aviators, I mean, yeah, I do expect them to have most of their team for most of the year. Granted, I feel like we're going to see some sort of movement here and there, just because I feel like the Aviators is just going to be that good to where they're going to have to pull some guys up. But in terms of the A's, I think that we're going to say it's too early.
Absolutely.
It's too early. Yeah.
Got to play 162 of these, so it could be a little too early. Last point I want to get to about the Aviators before we move on really quick. Had a conversation with Nick Kurtz. Was it Tuesday? Tuesday. And had a conversation with him. Talked to him about his first AAA series. And I believe he left that series batting .455 after leaving that series. He's played in 4 major league. Why do I keep saying that? He's played in 4 minor league games. And he was a late scratch today. And I'll get to that in a brief moment. But has tallied a hit in all of his 4 games. I believe leads the team with a .476 batting average. And keep in mind, this is somebody who played 12 minor league games before playing at the AAA level. And this is somebody that was just drafted 4th overall last season out of Wake Forest. So if you know anything about college baseball, Wake Forest is one of those places where you can go get some studs.
I mean, coming up to the AAA level that fast, I mean, that in itself is impressive alone. But You said he was hitting for what?
476. Yeah, I know.
That's crazy in little league baseball.
Word.
What?
Word.
Like yeah,
Word.
that's insane. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like the whole developmental process, like especially with the A's organization, I feel like they got that part down. It's just gonna take a matter of time and just making moves on the major league level. Like, you know, first off, getting guys to want to come to the organization. But granted, you know, the team is kind of like in this limbo position to where they're coming out here, but they're still in this like kind of limbo purgatory area right now. But I feel like once they finally do arrive out here, I think that's gonna like make guys around the league actually want to come out here. And I feel like it's gonna give time for like a lot of these young guys to grow up and develop. And once it's finally time for the team to come out here, I think those young guys are going to be ready. And then, you know, whoever around the league around that time is ready to come or is even interested in coming, I feel like that's going to put the rest of the organization in a good position. But from a developmental standpoint, like I feel like the Aviators are a prime example of that.
So a couple things that you just said. I said this 2 years ago, and you kind of just elaborated on it right now. But I said that the Athletics couldn't afford to come here without having something to sell. You have to have somebody to sell to this new market. And obviously Nick Kurtz helps. Nick Kurtz might be in the major leagues by the time they get here to Vegas. So that obviously helps. But I thought another interesting point that you brought up was the word veteran, right? And just if we're calling a spade in terms of the batter's box, this group doesn't really have one, right? In terms of position players. So that's the next step for this group. The next step is to be semi-impressive enough for somebody to look at it and go, huh, okay, there's something over there. And the first name that just came to mind actually is somebody that I always talk about. I look at somebody like a Nolan Arenado, right? Remember when, let's do this. Let's do Randy Arozarena. Remember when Randy Arozarena, when he was with Tampa, you was like, okay, this is somebody that has Dodger written all over him. You look at Ellie De La Cruz, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, he's going to be a Dodger one day. You were looking at Randy Arozarena, especially after losing to the Dodgers in that COVID World Series, and you go, yeah, give him about 2 seasons and he'll be out of here. The Dodgers were in on him. I believe the Yankees were in on him. I believe the Red Sox were in on him. He goes to Seattle. The Athletics are going to have to do that in order to secure a vet. Now, Randy may not necessarily fit that bill for you guys. But, for instance, this is completely random. What if the A's went out and traded for somebody like Andrew McCutchen? If I'm Pittsburgh, because of what he means to Pittsburgh, I don't let him go. But if I'm the A's, if I just want somebody to come in here and be a professional, if I want somebody to come in here and bring some traditions, bring some winning ways, maybe I started looking a little earlier than people think.
That's interesting. You know, that kind of reminds me of like Andrew McCutchen to the A's. That's kind of like from a veteran presence, I understand it. Like for like the youth of the team, but it kind of reminds me of when Albert Pujols went to the Angels. Like the veteran presence, like that definitely made sense. Like for like how young the team was, but like in terms of impact on like what it's going to do to the team overall.
Keep in mind, I didn't say nothing about Kutch coming here and winning a batting title.
No, yeah.
That's not what we bringing him here for. If that's what we're doing, Kutch would be here to be. I mean, keep in mind, I'm naming somebody that doesn't have to play every day. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that. Because my 24-year-old center fielder, he's gonna play every day. Kutch, sorry, you're out of the league in maybe 2 years. So that's what I mean, and that's what the A's need. The A's need some. For instance, I remember when the A's, and I had conversations with people inside the organization about it. I remember when the A's came out, and essentially you saw every sign in the book point to they were going younger. Cool, if you guys are going younger, go younger. No disrespect to this gentleman, but Tony Kemp was still playing second base. why is he here if you're going young? He's over 30. I'm not saying he's washed because he's 31, but based on what you guys are doing, why is he here? And then Tony was no longer here the year after. The A's are now in that position where they have that youth movement, right? So you go get somebody similar to a Tony Kemp who doesn't need to play every day. Maybe you do need to go out and get a 35-year-old. Maybe you do need to go out and go get a 36-year-old. You never know. So it won't be exactly the same as the Albert Pujols standpoint because you're not necessarily getting a vet 9 times out of 10 to go plug in the middle of your lineup. But we'll see what happens in the next 2-3 months. Really quick before you move on, Nick Kurtz was a last-minute scratch from today's game. I had some people hit me on Twitter about it, and I tried to answer the ones that I could. But, pardon, guys. These things happen. And first of all, these things happen in sports always, right? But it happens in baseball for sure. You guys know about it, being baseball fans. But the minor leagues are a little bit different from the standpoint of, yes, these teams like to keep things close to the vest. These things are a little different at the minor league level because it can be a multitude of things for why Nick Kurtz wasn't playing today. Nick Kurtz was actually, when I had the conversation with Fran Reardon, I forgot the game started at 6:35. So don't ask. I'm having a conversation with Fran, like we chilling at 5:50, and I was like, wait a minute. Like the game started in 35 minutes. But Nick was on the lineup at that point. I finished my interview. I'm walking out of the dugout. I'm looking up at the big board. Nick is out there, or Nick is up there. I get upstairs, get everything set up in the press box, get to my seat. Nick is no longer on the lineup. It happened that quickly. So some people were asking me, was he hurt? What was the case? Here's how I'll try to break it down for you guys. Let's say he was hurt, right? Let's say he was hurt, but let's say he got a splinter that was super bad. That they was like, you know what? We play 150 of these. You ain't got to go today. It's no reason panicking everybody by saying he's out with a finger because now everybody's worried about his hitting, everybody's worried about his whatever, right? Let's say he tweaked his back and they don't know if he's going to actually be on the IL or if he's going to play tomorrow. Somebody said that he get called up. Maybe. I don't want to scare nobody, but these things happen when guys get traded too. It happens. Especially after the way that Nick Kurtz has started the year. Do I believe they're trading Nick Kurtz? No. But you want to know what happened on Tuesday when I walked into the building? Esteury Ruiz was on the lineup. About 30 minutes before the game started, Esteury Ruiz was not on the lineup. We found out in the middle of the game he got designated for assignment. Yeah. That's the way these things go, guys. So I won't have an answer for you guys tonight unless somebody hits my phone and tells me something. And honestly, if somebody hits my phone tonight and tells me something, it's not good. So probably no update tonight. We'll probably have an update tomorrow when I get to the ballpark. But let's get to our mom's tip in and we can move on to the athletics because I'm sure that there's a lot to get to in that regard. My mom's tip in for today. Trust the journey even when the path seems unclear. The timing of your life unfolds exactly as it should, and each step brings you closer to where you're meant to be. I'll read that one more time. Trust the journey, even when the path seems unclear. The timing of your life unfolds exactly as it should, and each step brings you closer to where you're meant to be. Shout out to my mom for that tip in. I don't think my dad has one today. He's slipping. I think that's 2 shows in a row. So, yeah, I don't know what that is. The Aviators get back to action tomorrow from the ballpark. First 7:05 p.m. start of the week. Friday and Saturday will be 7:05 starts, and then for your finale on Sunday it will be a 12:05 start from the Las Vegas ballpark. In terms of the Athletics, 0-3 in their first series from Sacramento, their debut series. I have a couple of different ways I could take this, but As a person who didn't get to speak to Ricky Henderson at length, I believe I only said hi and bye to him like twice. I just got to call a spade a spade. From even a little bit of time that I was around Ricky Henderson, I think it's very ironic that his number is 24, was 24. Everybody during that Athletics debut wore the number 24. Similar to like a Jackie Robinson type deal, right? No names on the back. Everybody wears the number 24. They lost that game 18-3. By the fourth inning, I heard Ricky say, "Hey, do me a favor. Everybody take those jerseys off." I couldn't imagine what Ricky would have said if he would have saw that.
Poor Ricky, man. I mean, whenever I hear that name, I just think speed.
You have to.
I just think speed.
You have to. Gotta go fast.
Yeah, I just man, I mean that's tough, man. You know, especially like when you get honored in such a way. I mean, like the honor itself is like definitely like very commendable, but yeah, when you
And again, Ricky passed this. I don't believe it was last year. Ricky passed early this year, if I recall correctly, and the passing itself was so sudden and so shocking that I believe people are still trying to process it, which is why most of the people that I've had that back and forth with about that Sacramento debut, I think it's probably the way that we cope with it, to obviously understanding this 18-3, this 18-3 finish. But anybody who's known Ricky that I've said what I just told you, nobody has told me that I would be lying. That Ricky would have halfway through the game been like, "Yeah, do me a favor, take those off. Just take the numbers off." Guys are making those numbers look bad. In total, the A's were outscored 35-9 by the Cubs in that 3-game series.
I mean, if you want to take anything positive from it, I mean, you scored 9 runs. I mean, granted, it's a 3-game series, but hey,
Oh Lord,
you put up 9 runs, so
3-run average ain't gonna do it in today's game.
it's really not, man. Because I mean, yeah, no, baseball is a total different monster now. Like, when did the hitting get this crazy, or is it a lack of pitching? Because I feel like that's been a real conversation.
Extra Yankees with the torpedo bats.
Wow, that was unnecessary.
You asked me a question. I just responded. Don't ask me if you don't want me to answer it.
You know what? We're not like that didn't happen. Yes. Yeah.
Just saying.
Points are just going up. Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, pitching. Like I mean, that's what we just finished talking about with the Aviators. Like, as great as this organization is with the whole development standpoint, I feel like pitching is just a major issue, especially at the major league level for them. So, I mean, yeah, just giving up that many runs has to be demoralizing. I mean, it's kind of hard to bounce back from that. I mean, that's the equivalent of, you know, when you're getting blown out in a basketball game and it just feels like you're running back on defense every single time. Like, that's just, it's hard to be in that type of situation. So, I mean, you can only ask so much from your batters, especially when you give up 18 runs. I mean, that's kind of insane. So
the problem is sometimes, and I said it before, especially in baseball, you have these games sometimes where you're sitting there and you're like, okay, 6-0. Then you look up, all right, 11-1. Okay, it's 13-4. It's over. Like, this is over. So by the time the 7th inning hits, you see a lot of those teams, we got to play 160 of these, 150 of these, whatever it is. The problem is you kind of had 2 of those in the 3-game stretch. And it was the first chance that you had for your, and I keep saying home in parentheses or in quotations, because I guess I don't know. I'm trying to be respectful as best I can. I feel like this has, when the Chargers played in Carson, written all over it.
for me, it feels like another former Oakland team. It seems like the Raiders, like it seems like they just it's just hard for them to find a home right now. So, I mean, granted, it's crazy how they both ended up in Vegas.
Yeah.
California loves to come to Vegas.
I don't think the Raiders like that, by the way. I just want to highlight that.
Are you sure? Because like I mean, we've seen this team. They went from L.A. to Oakland. Weren't they back in L.A. Then went to Oakland?
Wait. Wait. Are we sure about what?
That the Raiders don't like moving around.
Oh, that's not what I was saying.
What were you? What were
You said that it's funny how the A's ended up out here with the Raiders too. And I said the Raiders don't necessarily like that.
I mean, I'm sure Oakland doesn't like that.
Oh, they're sick.
But
They're sick as a whole. They hate it.
I mean, it's just
I should have said sick as a black hole. I missed that opportunity. Damn it.
They're always right there. But
Whatever. Ruined moment.
yeah, yeah. So it's just like I said, it's so weird seeing them in this position right now because they've kind of been battling like because we literally just watched the Raiders go through the same thing for years and years, and it was just like same thing with the Coliseum. Like, all right, come on, let's get a new stadium. Raiders, all right, we're out. Okay, we're still hanging on, and then all right, A's, all right, finally, we got to go. Like Vegas not ready yet, but we gotta get out of here.
I think the wildest part of this move for me, relocation for now, that this was months ago. Might have been like last summer when the city of Oakland came out and said, "Hey, here's some stadium details. This is the stadium that we voted on to build, whatever." I talked to some of the people within the A's organization. They were like, "We don't know what they voted on because we never saw that. So we don't know how you approved a stadium for us and started building a stadium that we never looked at." As much as people like to blame just the ownership group for the A's, Oakland dropped the ball in some moments too. And there's a lot of people that want to just rip into ownership. And I'm not saying that there's nothing there, that there's no smoke there for you to blow up if you want to. Everything is not one-sided at all in this particular situation. I feel like this one is a little bit different. Having spoke to well, you know what's interesting? I've reached out to some Oakland officials, and you know what? This is what I'll say. And this is where I'll end it really because there's probably no reason to talk about Oakland anymore when it comes to the athletics. What's done is done. This is the last thing I'll say then. In addition to the city voting on, allegedly voting on, I think they actually voted. I'm saying allegedly to protect them, but allegedly voting on a stadium that the team had never seen. I remember the A's saying when they told the city of Oakland, they said, "Hey, in these negotiations, like obviously, like we have certain things in here that if you do like negotiations, they're over. Like the moment that we see this is being done." It was like 2 or 3 things, right? Can't remember what one of them were, but let's just say it was 2. I can't remember what one of them was, but the other one was to not speak to Rob Manfred directly, which is the commissioner of Major League Baseball. All-Star Weekend happens. We already know. Home Run Derby is on Monday. All-Star Game is on Tuesday. Monday, I get the news. Home Run Derby happens. Cool. Monday, I also get the news that the mayor of Oakland met with Rob Manfred. I was at work in the bar, looked up and said, "Oh, these negotiations are over." Did you go to my boss? Didn't I say before we started that there was one thing that would end this? Not gonna lie. I saw that and was like, this is over.
I don't even know how to follow that up. I mean, that's just.
Hey, man.
I mean, I will talk about the city of Oakland. I'm not trying to get political on this show, but no, I'm not. Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
It's a very good point. As of now, the A's are 2-2 away from Sacramento and are 0-3 in Sacramento. They are currently last in the AL West. It's a little too early to look into that too much. Aside from the Angels being 4-2.
Yankees are 4-2 too. Let's just, since he went to throw that shot earlier.
Could have threw another one just now. How about you throw Aaron Judge a fly ball? See how that goes.
Sure.
As of now, the Athletics will head back to the road. Technically, isn't their whole year on the road? Never mind. They're headed back to the road for 3 games against the Colorado Rockies from beautiful Coors Field. 1:10, 5:10, 12:10 start times for the Athletics against the Rockies. I'm excited to see it. If there was ever a stadium to get your mojo back in the batter's box, it would be where the Rockies play. So I'll be interested in that. It's our first, or at least it's the first time this season, or this year rather, and this season of the show where we've been able to talk Foley investments. So now we got Nighthawk talk. Now we got Golden Knight talk. I know that you are covering the Nighthawks, and this is actually why I didn't do a show on Monday. Little last minute switch up. I realized super last minute that the game was on a Monday. So Markel wasn't going to be able to cover that game. So I was like, you know what? Last minute, I'm going to take over the game. And that's what we ended up doing. Markel, you had a chance to obviously watch and kind of look it over. I'm pretty sure you had to look at highlights unless you signed up for the IFL Network, the new IFL Network, which I signed up for this past weekend. Congratulations to the IFL for obviously creating this and starting their own network. They obviously had a lot of fans on YouTube, and those you could essentially call it a live watch party, essentially, the way that those chats looked. I will say this. It wasn't the easiest to find originally. It doesn't work on every internet service. Certain blockups or certain pop-ups will be blocked based on the IFL network. So because of that, I didn't see a lot of traction in terms of the IFL network. By the championship game this first season with the IFL network, as a whole, I think all IFL fans will be there next season.
Yeah, most definitely. Coming into the season, I seen like a lot of fans complaining like that it's like getting moved off of YouTube. I feel like I kind of like the whole YouTube.
I want to get paid more too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. For the players, of course, yeah. But in terms of the fans, fans are always going throw their 2 cents in. But of course, people don't really like change, but. I definitely like the move the IFL is making. I feel like the league is definitely going to take like I don't want to say a super duper big jump, but I feel like the league is moving in the right direction. I feel like indoor arena type football is like something that America really appreciated, like back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like after a while, like when it kind of had a drop off, I feel like it was kind of a void that people were missing. And I feel like it's multiple leagues that are around now, but
That's true.
I feel like the IFL is kind of like. I feel like they kind of have like the structure and like the kind of the format to kind of bring it back to the mainstream and the forefront. So but yeah, right now I feel like they're just kind of like moving in that right direction. So this whole new streaming platform they got themselves, I feel like that's definitely gonna move things in the right direction.
Talent is gonna sell. Period.
Mhm.
That's the only way that this is gonna work. Talent is gonna sell. I remember 2 years ago. Am I wrong? 3 years ago, maybe. IFL National Championship game. Northern Arizona had a defensive end that when you saw him play, it was his rookie year. When you saw him play, I think when rookie of the year and defensive player of the year, when you saw him play, you looked at him and you went, NFL teams clearly just haven't seen him yet. It was players or it was coaches rather at that national championship game that obviously we shout out to the powers that be. We were sitting right behind the bench, and I heard just some of the conversations. A lot of the conversation was, hey, regardless of how this goes, you're playing at the next level, like whether you know it or not. So as you said before too, I do think the IFL does have the power to turn some heads, but again, it's going to be talent driven, right? Nobody talks about the XFL. They talk about he hate me. So there's certain elements to that I think the IFL has to kind of build on. And obviously the UFL is a good thing to obviously piggyback off of too, because the XFL was going to die again. And they saw the USFL and was like, you know what? Do me a favor. Let's team up. The IFL is in a different regard in terms of that. And I will say this too. You got to find the right state for it. Got to find the right city for it. You have no choice. I seen somebody had to be somewhere in Jersey, but they didn't. They had the game being played in a mall, and it was still empty. And I was like, okay, now that is going to be hard to pitch to anybody in the city to keep putting money behind. So, obviously, we started this by talking about Bill Foley investments, and Foley has invested a lot into this Nighthawks team, a Nighthawks team that is coming off of its best season in franchise history. 11 wins in the season, started the year 7-0. What else? Number 2 overall seed, first playoff appearance, was beaten by the eventual champions. And then you come into a new year. First 2 games are on the road. I think that's important to note first. And then you go to San Diego, a team that I don't want to say upset, but a team that kind of shocked you toward the end of the year, right? We talked about the way that game went toward the end of last season. But regardless of that being the last meeting, you come into this meeting with that fresh on your mind, and you fall behind in this one 38-18. When you notice that they fell behind 38-18, what was your initial takeaway?
I was definitely terrified. I was working the time of the game, but like I checked the score and I was like, that's not right. And I had to check twice. I was like, wait, are we down? I
told Nick Kurtz had to do the same thing. I had to make sure he had played 12 games before. I was like, nah, ain't no way.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. But I mean, when you got the reigning league MVP, I mean, are you ever really out of the game?
So I'm happy you said that, because we know Mike Davis is not somebody who's going to bite his tongue by any means. I will say he is one of the coaches that I've learned knows his guys better than most, because there's some things that he said publicly that have had me like, I don't know that I would have said that. Here's the thing. Last year we talked about Jerome Johnson winning the MVP, and he had 3 games where he was benched, right? 1 game where he was outright benched. He was a healthy bench. He was a healthy bench, and he was sitting on the bench healthy, and he still goes out and wins an MVP. So if you go ahead and look at that, that's 3.5 games essentially that Jerome Johnson did not play last year and still walked away with the MVP. You come into the season, first game doesn't look good to start, right? Very rarely do you get 3 and outs in this league, let alone on back-to-back drives, and that's what Vegas had back-to-back times to start the game. And as a matter of fact, I want to tell you guys about a little stat. Vegas went into the second quarter down 14-0, right? I believe it took Vegas 7 games to have their first scoreless quarter, and last season they only had 2. So from that perspective alone, this game started in kind of weird territory. I asked Mike Davis about it after the game, and I was kind of like, hey, what happened early? He kind of chuckled, and he said, honestly, we were seeing ghosts. Not finna tell Mike that he's wrong. By no means. I can't tell him he's wrong, right? However, I do think seeing ghosts is extreme. if I was talking to Mike, he probably was like, shit, going down 20 was extreme. But what I mean by that is like we saw Sam Darnold against the Patriots.
Mhm.
I'm throwing where nobody is. And Vegas didn't necessarily do that. Vegas seemed a little tight, to be honest. Knowing the guys, I'm a little surprised a little bit to know that they were a little uptight to start the game. But after the game, somebody said the on-field interview said exactly what you just said a second ago. They said, well, it always helps when you have the MVP, right? You want to guess what Mike Davis said?
What do you say?
He chuckled and was like, you would think so. Again, I don't know what Jerome feels. But if I'm coming off of an MVP season where I was benched not once, not twice, but 3 times, cool. And then we come into this season, we fall behind by 20. I get it. Not a good look. I pull the game out. Why do I feel like you just tried to play me on TV again?
Yeah, if I'm Jerome, I would definitely feel some type of way about that.
What do you mean you would think so? We got the dub, didn't we?
5 touchdowns. I mean, I'll go out there and put up 5 touchdowns. Granted, first half, 18 points. I hear you. But I went and scored 30 points. Antonio Winbush, couple touchdowns. Got an interception on defense.
A much needed one. And on top of that, granted, we know especially how the IFL is. The IFL can change like that from week to week, let alone from year to year. San Diego led the league last year in interceptions with 28. That interception at the end of the game by Lorenzo Hernandez of Vegas was the only turnover in the game. So obviously Vegas didn't look right in their eyes. In terms of clean, like the ability to have a clean game, both sides had a clean game. Vegas was only stopped twice, first 2 possessions of the game. San Diego was only stopped 3 times, last 3 possessions of the game.
And that's literally a 1 possession difference, which showed itself at the end of the game. So, I mean, like, yeah, like you just said it. I mean, like that's the thing with the IFL in general. Like, the game can swing so fast, and it can look worse than what it is in the second quarter, and then you look up in the third quarter, and you're in the middle of a like 50-64 shootout, and you're like, "How the hell did we get here?" But like the game just moves that quickly. So, I mean, anything can happen that fast. I mean, like,
Hardest thing in the world to live tweet.
yes, absolutely.
I hate live tweeting IFL games.
I've seen you do it firsthand multiple times.
Hell on earth.
Salute to you. Yeah,
Terrible.
it's just like seeing the game move that fast. It's like the momentum shifts, the momentum swings. It's like, for anybody who hasn't seen it, like it's crazier than a basketball game. I'm not
100%.
like I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the momentum shifts are just absolutely insane. But for Vegas, I feel like they just started the game off not the greatest. And granted, I feel like they got this is the first time this team has had pressure on them coming into a season. I mean,
See, I want to say the same thing. Mike Davis will tell you no, it's not.
and I can respect that simply because he's the head coach.
Hand it to you.
But from the outside looking in, from a reporter fan perspective, this team's never been here before. I mean, they had the best season ever last year.
I told you guys respectfully for the first like half of last season, like a lot of people was like other teams were like They're Vegas. Not saying they're bad, not saying they're good. They're Vegas. Like, we don't. What are you guys won 5 games last year? Okay. And then they start the year 7-0, right? So again, like I said before, this team has all the belief in the world in itself. It has another road game to complete before its official home opener. I believe that home opener is on the 11th. Should be Friday night, the 11th. But before we get there, Sunday, April 6th, 3 p.m. kickoff at Jacksonville against the Sharks. It is the second straight road game to start the new year for your Nighthawks. You want to talk Golden Knights?
Let's do it.
Let's talk Golden Knights, man. We are about 10 minutes removed from the second hour of the Talk That Talk radio show. Again, guys, I'm Terrell. That's Markel. We got Golden Knights to get to. We got some UNLV basketball to get to. We'll get to the Final Fours, and then we'll end with some NBA talk. We'll get out of here maybe a little bit early, but probably about 50 minutes left for you guys. Going back to the Golden Knights really quick. Pardon. It was a 4-0 loss tonight against Winnipeg from the T-Mobile Arena. I was actually texting Isaiah Torres a second ago. Shout out to Isaiah Torres, who covers the Golden Knights for the company. This is a wild stat that I have for you guys really quick. Since 2022-23, Aiden Hill against Winnipeg was 5-0-0. He had allowed just over 2.5 goals a game. His save percentage was just over 90%. And then he comes into this one and he gets no offensive firepower. He goes out there, gives up, I believe, 2 goals in that second period. Things changed a little bit. Did have a couple power play situations, but long story a little less long. You're playing the best team on paper. Statistically speaking, we've played majority of this regular season. The best team is looking like the Winnipeg Jets. They're 52-20-4 overall. Tonight, it looked like the Vegas Golden Knights played the best team in the league.
I mean, yeah, you hate to lose back-to-back games, especially this late in the season.
True.
It's definitely not ideal, especially against a team like that. Like, that's somebody you kind of want to measure yourself up against, especially right when it's playoff time. I don't necessarily think they should think too deep into it. I'm not saying they should just blow it in the wind, but it's definitely concerning. For the offense not to show up, that's definitely concerning, especially when this team is kind of leaned on the offense this year.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, even though defense has had its moments as well too, but definitely leaning on the offense. So playing against a team like Winnipeg, who's the best team in the league, and I feel like you got to show up, man. You got to show up. So I definitely want to. I'm definitely curious about how Bruce is feeling about the team tonight, and
Let me see.
just going forward heading into the playoffs. That's definitely a tough loss to take. Yeah, I definitely love to hear what Isaiah has to say on this as well too. But yeah, it's tough situation going into the playoffs, man. Nothing nice whatsoever.
I was going to call Isaiah, but Isaiah's probably working on the story. I'm going to let Isaiah cook. Maybe Monday. We'll try to see if we can get Isaiah on. If not, I'm going to try to do it by Thursday. But Aiden Hill was swapped. The aforementioned Aiden Hill was swapped out in this one for Akira Schmid. Now, I've said it before. Aiden just got this extension, so Aiden is locked up here in Vegas for the foreseeable future.
Well deserved.
Yeah, man, well deserved for sure. Whoa, that is not nobody sitting there. But Aiden for me, and again, Aiden's a baller. Trying to figure out how I want to say this. In my time covering sports, relatively early in my career, I was covering a team that had a quarterback, right? That every mistake that the quarterback made he wore it on his sleeve. And I wasn't even a teammate. By the third game, I was like, bro, you got to pick your own ass up. I watched Winnipeg score those 2 goals, and I was just watching the way Aiden was standing in between the pipes. And in the back of my mind, I was like, go get him. It's going to be 7-0 before you guys can even blink. A couple of goals. And again, it goes back to what you said before, too. The offense has always been there. It hasn't been very many times where this offense goes out and the offense literally sputters and it stalls. He realized that the offense sputtered and stalled. Clearly, I'm not at the game. I'm not talking to Aiden tonight, but I need to know what Aiden looked like tonight. Because in my opinion, about 25, 30 minutes in, you were like, oh, this isn't going to end well.
And I wonder what that's like as a goalie. Like, especially when you like, oh, we don't have it tonight.
Still got to do your job.
And then you start to see the defense kind of fall in that same position because there's no offensive firepower. And you just like, you just said you got to pick up your own ass sometimes. Like, all right, man, I got to do something about this. Like, I can't let this game get turned into 7-8 goals, and now everybody looking at me like I'm the problem. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a real tough situation. Like just playing against a team like that this late in the season, you definitely want more. Like you want more. Like we're damn near in the last week of the season, so it's like it's go time right now. So, like I said, same time, like while you do want to pay attention to this loss, I don't think you want to dig too deep into it. Like you do want to keep it pushing and get ready for whoever you got first round. But yeah, man, like tough loss tonight, man. Tough loss.
So you know what? Real quick. Roki Sasaki has made 2 starts with the Dodgers. He's been pulled early in both starts. The conversation on Twitter became his emotions after being pulled. And it appeared, especially after that home start, that he was crying in the dugout. I saw it and I thought one of 2 things. Respectfully. I said this is his villain origin story. And when he torches all of us for the next 11 years, that's our fault. Or he's going to hate LA by the end of the year. There is no in between. Either this man is going to be a star or whatever he ends up being. When you ask him about his time in LA, he's going to hate it. Not necessarily the same situation here with Aiden. And the funny thing is, too, when every conversation I've had with Bruce Cassidy about him, obviously it was early in the season before Isaiah took over. Like he said, yeah, didn't have it tonight. Yeah, it got ugly tonight. Yeah, whatever the case may be. He's going tomorrow. So might as well put it behind you now and move on. So we'll see if Aiden is able to do that. The team does have another game on Saturday. That is April 5th, 7 p.m. That's the first of a 3-game road trip. It's not good, as you said before, to lose back-to-back games and then to lose heading into a 3-game road trip. Not necessarily ideal, obviously, with the calendar winding down. As of now, Vegas is still first in the Pacific Division. They are 45, 22, and 8 on the year. They are 2 points away from 100 on the season. The LA Kings won tonight, so they are sitting behind Vegas with 95 points on the year, and Edmonton sits behind them with 91. Anything else you got for the present moment? We are hopping into the second hour of the Talk That Talk radio show on this Thursday night.
Yeah, I don't got anything else on the Golden Knights. Do you think it's concerning though, getting these 2 back-to-back losses?
Not originally. The way it looked tonight, if Vegas went ahead And I want to be sure about this. Let me go look at these standings really quick. Because if Vegas makes the postseason, right? And if Vegas makes the Stanley Cup Finals, if Vegas has to look over or I take that back, if Vegas makes the Western Conference Finals and Vegas has to look over at Winnipeg and Winnipeg was to sweep Vegas, after tonight, would it shock you?
Yes.
I don't know that it'll shock me. After what I saw tonight, tonight gave me Florida last year. Some of the games that I would watch with Florida last year, I was like, okay, I see what's happening. They went to their first Stanley Cup, came up short, and was like, oh, we know how to do this. St. Louis did it a couple of years ago, too. Colorado did it maybe 3 years ago. And this doesn't even have to be championship winning seasons. It's just a feel, right? For Vegas, Vegas has been Vegas all year long. What I saw tonight lets me know that somebody needs to get Winnipeg out of the way for Vegas because I don't think they could do it themselves. It goes back to what I said about the Packers in Detroit. I love the Packers' chances to beat anybody. Not Detroit. Somebody else got to get them out the way.
I get it. It's those certain teams that you.
I just don't want to see them this year.
Yeah.
See me next year. You should have talked to me last year. I don't want to talk to you this year.
Yeah, it's they just can't get them off their back right now. So, all right, I guess so.
We can hop right into basketball now if you want to. We're gonna start. Actually, this next hour is basketball, guys. So, we're gonna talk UNLV sports first, and then we will talk the NCAA Final Fours. And then we'll end with some basketball talk. But really quick, the transfer portal for UNLV, it happened. Dedan Thomas Jr. is no longer a running Rebel. He is now in the SEC. He has transferred, and it was just announced, I believe, 2 days ago that he is signing with the LSU Tigers.
I mean, major blow for UNLV. I mean, what a great 2-year run. If you look back at the record and be like, if you was look at the overall team record, you kind of be like, was he really? Yes, Dedan was that good. Dedan Thomas Jr. was that good. If you didn't catch a game these past 2 years, I feel sorry for you because I feel like he definitely outperformed more than he wanted to. I mean, me and Terrell talk about all the time. Like, he's a pass first point guard who was scoring the ball more than he should have. So, I mean, I'm definitely happy for him, though. Going to LSU, I feel like that's a great opportunity for him. Playing the SEC, I feel like he's going to get a lot more exposure. It's definitely going to push him to be even better than what he already was. So, I mean, but yeah, losing a whole hometown product like that for UNLV, I mean, that's definitely a major blow.
Vegas has been you said purgatory earlier, which is a good word. They've been stuck in the mud. That's what I'll say. For quite some time. And it seems like every offseason, you're not trying to replace 3, 4, 5 guys. You're trying to replace 8, 9, 10 guys. And that just doesn't feel like a recipe for success. And the funny thing is, I know most college coaches now would tell me, well, you got to get with the time. That is the way that you win nowadays. And then I would reiterate the same thing I've been reiterating since I got here in 2017. We're a mid-major. So unless you're going to do like Dan Mullen did and bring some SEC products with you and bring some Big Ten products with you, you're probably going to keep yourself stuck in the mud. To see DJ go to LSU, I thought a couple of things. I said it should be a good sign for anybody who has faith in D-Don because he took the hardest route. If you would have told me he was going to the SEC, I would have said Florida. For him to go to LSU, I think he's going to play with a lot of guys who can run. I think he's going to play with guys that are going to cut to the lane. I don't think D-Don has to be a scorer at LSU this next season. If he gives you 8 and 8, I don't know how people feel about it. What did Alvaro Cardenas average this season for let me see, for Boise State? Because if he can be something similar to that, and if you've seen Alvaro Cardenas play, he plays like somebody who is probably going to be at another or probably could be at another college if you wanted to. I want to know what he averaged. So he averaged 11.7 and 6.9. So he averaged about 12 and 7 with Boise. If D-Don goes over there and averages one more assist with a couple of less buckets, I don't know that LSU isn't looking at him thinking, yeah, we won because he has essentially 2 more seasons, but he'll have a senior year still left where now maybe you can hit that scoring punch where you've, again, like we said before, UNLV kind of needed him to be a scorer in year 2 and even in some moments in year 1. But again, this year wasn't as productive for D-Don. And one of the reasons that I continue to bring it up, the Boone brothers aren't here. It was easy for him last season when everything's got rough to be like, you know what, Caleb, this is yours. You go ahead and you get your post up, or we give the ball to Keelan on the left wing, or top of the key and we move out the way completely and we let him go ISO. He's going to be able to do that at LSU. Probably going to suit him better to do that at LSU. However, it's going to be a lot tougher to score in that conference than it was for him to score at UNLV. But I do have some, and this is what I wanted to know. I was waiting to see what changes were made because I was looking at why am I blanking? Jeez Louise. I was looking at Twitter during the game and I was looking at the portal list. And I'm like, okay, cool, because we have D-Don Thomas that's now at LSU. We have Jaden Henley who signed to Grand Canyon. We have Isaiah Cottrell who signed to I believe that's Southern Utah University. And then you have Brooklyn Hicks who visited Oregon State. Since we've been doing this show, Bear Cherry has committed to Sacramento State. So Bear Cherry will now be coached by Sacramento Kings great Mike Bibby. So more changes for Vegas. As of now, D-Don Thomas, Jaden Henley, Bear Cherry, Rob Whaley, Brooklyn Hicks, Isaiah Cottrell, and Jace Whiting are all leaving the program. Returning to the program, you have James Evans, Jacob Bernarby. I don't know why I keep saying that. Tyron Jones, Mason Abiton, and Pop Njai. To give you guys a little bit of an idea of what the roster looks like, this is no shot at none of those young men that as of right now are returning to UNLV. But a bulk of what UNLV was successful at last season is looking like it's walking out the door.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like these days, especially in the transfer portal, you want to return some solidified pieces to your roster year in and year out.
You have to.
Whether they're ready to move on to the next level or just go to a different type of D1 school, I feel like you got to kind of keep up with the times, like year in and year out. So, yeah, man, it's a tricky situation. In terms of recruiting, Matt Abiton, at Coronado, another Vegas product. I feel like his game is completely gonna suit Josh Pastner very well. But I feel like he's definitely got some more work to do. I mean, it's week 1. I feel like he's been recruited to got 2 guys to stay on the team. It's Yeah, I just want to be patient right now. I know UNLV basketball fans are not patient whatsoever,
At all.
like whatsoever. But just because we got Josh Pastner doesn't mean things about to get turned over overnight. I mean, we just celebrated the 35-year anniversary of UNLV national championship team. But yeah, me and Terrell weren't born then. So
Yeah.
I mean, like it's been that long. So like I feel like there has to be a certain level of patience that hasn't been had around this program for quite some time. I mean, we haven't seen it. I mean, since you've been covering this, what Josh Pass was what the fourth coach.
Damn. Yeah. Menzies, TJ. Yeah. Menzies, TJ, Kruger, and Pastner now.
And Chris Beard stayed for a couple days.
My bad.
So
I don't
yeah,
consider that I cover Chris Beard. I never had a conversation with him, so nah, we didn't do that.
let's call it 5. So yeah, so I mean, we definitely got to be patient with it. But in terms of like starting off week 1, I'm definitely happy with it, man. So and Tyron Jones as well too. I feel like he's gonna be another good prospect. But yeah, losing Jaden Henley, I feel like that's
That's gonna suck.
just
That's gonna suck.
as big of a blow as losing Deion. I feel like a lot of people aren't gonna necessarily like notice it or like point to it right now.
Crazy.
But at a certain point in time during the season next year, yeah, I feel like they're gonna feel that impact at some point.
Jaden Henley can do so much with a basketball that respectfully it took D-Don getting hurt for people to see all he could do with a basketball. Just to kind of put that into perspective. And really quick, we talked about Josh Pastner a second ago, making some headlines with his coaching staff as of right now. He's added Scott Garson, Justin Hawkins, and Anthony Wilkins. I want to give you guys a breakdown on who these people are really quick. Scott Garson is a former UNLV player and Nevada player development director. And he was also a former Georgia Tech assistant coach. As far as Justin Hawkins, he was the former director of player development for. Oh no, that was it. I'm sorry. He was former director of player development for the UNR Wolfpack for the past 3 seasons. He also was a guard here at UNLV for the Running Rebels from 2009 to 2013. Pause. That's what I was talking about. In terms of issues, you have a former Rebel who played here from 2009 to 2013, who was an active player development coach for your rivals up north. Prime example of literally what I'm talking about. So now Josh Pastner comes in and Josh Pastner hires Justin Hawkins. In addition to that, I just mentioned Anthony Wilkins. Anthony Wilkins also spent 4 seasons as a Georgia Tech assistant coach. I was buying words to go through it, and I'm not even here for that. I told you guys before, I don't care who gets the job if they don't understand that they have to come in and tap into old roots. You may have to come in and do a bunch of apologizing for things that you didn't cause, but it may be the only way that you're going to get people to look past what UNLV kind of has on them, the stain and the stench that's on them, which somebody asked me on the phone after the Utah State game, and they was like, when's the last time UNLV? 2014. Sounds crazy. You realize we're in 2025, right? UNLV, I'm not talking about a national title. National championships are hard as hell to come by. UNLV hasn't competed for one in over 10 years.
You know, it's so crazy. Like once I seen that 35-year anniversary post, I thought about that. I was like, when's the last time UNLV was really competitive? And I'm always shout this man out, shout Dave Rice, because that was the last time I felt like I really seen the program turn in the right direction, and that's when we had Anthony Bennett. Granted, go ahead, make whatever jokes you want to make about him now.
I don't know any joke so I can make about Anthony Bennett. I don't.
I seen that man,
especially if you can't beat him.
For real. I seen that man play in person at the time of Matt Corina. Okay, I believe the hype too because it was definitely real. So yeah, I mean, I feel like yeah, but again, like it goes back to what I said earlier, like patience. Like we got like you got to have patience with this program, because it's not going to turn over overnight. Like uh, this is the fourth coach in the past 5, 6, 7 years. So I mean, you got to you got to you got to sit it out, be patient. Allow the transfer portal to do what it do. Allow Josh Pastner to make these moves. It's gonna be some hiccups going into the next year. It's gonna be hiccups next season. Like it's not gonna be perfect,
Absolutely.
but you do want to see signs of improvement, if nothing else. But like I said, the portal, we just getting started with the transfer portal. It's good to see that he's still recruiting on a high school level. That's one thing I do want to give him credit for in his first week, that he's recruiting in the state. I feel like that's something. I remember being in the barbershop a few weeks ago and hearing about that. Like that's always been a problem, like with UNLV, because it was like that with football for a long time too. It was like, why are you not recruiting in the state first? Like, if nothing else, you got to try and recruit the Gatorade Player of the Year at least.
Even if you miss, same thing I said when think of Marcus Arroyo got fired. If I'm Eric Harper, I call Dion. Do I think Dion comes? No, I call him. It just is what it is. And you talked about going to high schools. Barry Odom did it the day after his press conference. I seen Barry Odom at a high school the day after his press conference and was like, "Yep, things are going to change." Did I think that they would change this rapidly? No, but things are absolutely going to change. Really quick, I want to update one thing really quick. They had that a little tweaked on Google, but really quick, I want to give you guys the names really quick. Scott Garson, once again, he's coming over to serve as the associate head coach. For the past 7 years, he was an assistant coach with the Santa Clara Broncos. In terms of being a former player and then UNR's player developmental coach or director of player development, that would be Justin Hawkins, who I mentioned earlier. And then, why am I blanking on the last name? Anthony Wilkins. And then Anthony Wilkins is the last person that was added to the roster. He spent his last 2 seasons as an assistant. Last season, he was an assistant at Texas Rio Grande Valley. And the season before that, he was an assistant at Vanderbilt. Again, some wins coming over with these guys in terms of what they've done before. So I'm interested to see where it goes. Obviously, like you just said a second ago, all the portal news for UNLV has been what UNLV has lost. I'll be interested to see what UNLV is picking up from the portal because I know that those stories have not started yet. There you go, man. It's on you. Final Four, it's on. Where are we leaning? You can start with the women or the men. We can go whichever way.
Let's start with the men's.
First of all, shout out to all the number ones. 4 number ones in the Final Four. First of all, you want to guess how many times we've had 4 number ones in the Final Four? In the men's Final Four?
I know the last time was in 2008.
That pisses me off that you know that.
Yeah, that was that's when Ty Lawson was still playing. Yeah, so
hey, T Law.
Yeah, so but yeah, what were the other times?
2025. It's happened 2 times in history. And sure enough, this is only the second time that this happened. So I'm excited to see what comes of it. You got number 1 Duke, you got number 1 Houston, number 1 Auburn, and number 1 Florida. I've said it before. I think Duke looks like one of those picks that's like, okay, you're picking Duke. It looks like that's the smartest pick. If I'm going with Phil, when I mentioned Bruce Pearl the first time, or when he was at Auburn and they made that first run, I said they just have a feel about them. I've said for the last couple of weeks that Florida just has a feel about them. If they were to do it, it wouldn't shock me.
So okay, we start with Florida, Auburn. Actually, I'm with you. I got Florida in this game. I feel like Walter Clayton Jr. I've been watching him all year long. SEC Player of the Year. I mean, like he's just very efficient, controls the game, kind of knows when to score. Um, if I had to think of somebody like just not comparing these two players, but
Uh-oh.
like when I see Walker Clayton Jr., it kind of makes me think of like when DeMar DeRozan came to the Spurs and like he would just like not score for the first 3 quarters, like damn near the whole game. And like fourth quarter comes around and you're just like, what the hell is going on? Like, yeah, and he's just like just absolutely going crazy. I feel like that's kind of like Walker Clayton Jr. Like in the Elite Eight game, he was kind of like just sputtering through like the first half, and like towards the end of the first half, you started to see he was picking it up, and then by the end of the game, he has 30. So I mean, granted, I feel like that injury Janai Broom suffered in the last game. I feel like that ankle injury and hurt his arm a little bit too. I feel like that's definitely gonna like play a factor going into this game. Especially because I seen like Auburn's offense kind of like sputter out against against a Michigan State team that's all like a very good defensive team, but they can't really score the ball. So once Janai went down, the team really couldn't score the ball. Like that was very concerning, and but Auburn they find themselves in a lot of type shootout type of games. Um, I think that's not going to be a good situation to be in, especially with Janai's injury, and especially against a team like Florida, who has the size to match up with them. I just it's yeah, I just again I like Auburn has a phenomenal team. Janai might be player of the year, him or Cooper. I feel like it's a toss up between them two. So okay, look. I'm trying to be nice, okay, but
Don't be.
okay, yeah, I think Cooper gonna win it, but yeah, so
By a lot.
but yeah, no, yeah, Janai.
Now, whether you want to call it fair that he wins it by a lot, we could talk. But he's gonna win it by a lot.
But yeah, Janai is definitely number 2 behind him. But yeah, I just think his injury is definitely gonna play a factor. So yeah.
Let's talk W. Let's talk women's Final Four. I'm still trying to get over the Juju point. Go. I'm things aren't right. Going back to what I've said before. Respectfully speaking, I think what you guys were doing for Caitlin Clark last season, not saying she wasn't worthy of it. That's the way I have felt about Paige Beckers for a long time. So, with that said, it does not shock me that she's playing the way she is right now. It does not shock me that she's moving up the list of most points scored during a single tournament run. It does not shock me that she is probably going to be top 3 UConn player when it's all said and done, which is insane when you think about it. Paige has to win. That's just where we are. Paige has to win at this point. But you do get 3 number ones. You get Texas and South Carolina, which might be game of the year. And then you get UConn and UCLA. If we're going back to that feel point, yeah, I said what I said about USC and Juju, right? But going back to that Big Ten tournament, UCLA might be playing some of the best ball of anybody, and they're playing it at the right time.
And they're an interesting team because like it's rare that you see teams play through the post like the way they do. It's really like seeing a team revolve around the big like that is very interesting, especially at the college level these days. Like even in the women's game. But yeah, it's just UCLA is a very interesting team. I do think UConn will end up winning that game. I mean, like, yeah, you hit the nail on the head though. Paige, like, I mean, to follow a 40-point game with a 30-point game in the tournament is, I mean, that's kind of insane. I mean, she's 3rd all time on UConn's all time scoring list, behind Stewie and Maya Moore.
You know what?
What?
I saw her score against UCLA score against USC, and she flexed and she was like, and fucking won. And I laughed. And in the back of my mind, I thought about on the old Joe Budden podcast. Maul said this a long time ago, and I completely agree. Maul said the rest of the world is lucky that Steph Curry doesn't have a larger ego than he does, because you would have to put him in the top 5 if he talked. Steph don't talk. Everything that you guys did for Caitlin Clark, I'm not saying again that it wasn't warranted. If Paige talked, she would be the exact same way.
Most most definitely. I mean, but it's crazy because Paige, she a pass first point guard. Like she don't even want to score the ball for real, for real. Like I mean, granted, because she put the ball in the bucket. I mean, obviously, like third all time on UConn. That's just
that is insane in itself.
like the fact that she's been like missed time as well too. Like I'm talking about like torn ACL, and to be behind Maya Moore and Stewie. Stewie won 4 national championships.
By far, like probably might be the best career at UConn for sure.
Like what, and to be right behind her, like that is insane. Like just and yeah, Maya Moore. I mean, me and Terrell always gonna shout her out on this show. I mean,
go
3,000 points at UConn. I was like, jeez. I'm like,
only reason why I think I've told Diana Taurasi to her face that I believe she's the GOAT. Candace Parker is hard to argue with her resume, so that's probably going to be the two that I'm always going back and forth to. Maya Moore is my Barry Sanders. We don't know what she could have been, so Maya Moore will. Every time Maya Moore comes up, you'll hear me kind of say it kind of sheepishly, but the reason why I really feel like Maya Moore, like it's a safe bet to call Maya Moore the GOAT, is because she walked away having accomplished what she did and had what we believe to be so much more in front of her. So I think it's worth noting her in the probably top 5. She's always going to be in my top 5, even with the shorter career. You want to give me national championship games?
Yeah. So let's see. On the men's side, let's see. Yeah, I got Florida and Duke.
Same thing.
In my bracket, I ended up picking Duke. I just think from top to bottom.
You're a smart man.
I just think from top to bottom, man. Like certain years, like with Duke teams, like you just look at them and you like, this is a national championship team. Like,
when's the last time you felt that?
2015 when Jahlil
Okafor. I looked at Jahlil Okafor and geez, why am I blanking? Don't you say and Quinn Cook? And I'm looking at him. I almost said Noel Quinn. I'm looking at him and I'm like, you gotta win, right? Like it just makes sense, right? And then respectfully, when I seen Wisconsin made it to the finals, I was like, okay, Duke has it. I think Duke was gonna do this one. And shout out to Frank Kaminsky because I was nervous until about 8 minutes left.
Sam Decker too, man. Yeah.
Sam fucking Decker, dog.
Yeah. Nigel Hayes.
Nigel Hayes. I'm mad that you're even bringing these people up. Dog.
Nigel Hayes killing it overseas, by the way.
Damn.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Nigel reminds me of Emil Jefferson, which is a former Dookie. Hey, great point.
Yeah, but like that Duke team was insane. Tyus Jones, Justice Winslow, Quinn Cook. I mean, just
Justice was a dog in college.
Yeah. Like you just said, Emil Jefferson, like the whole nine. I mean, like it was just one of those teams where you're like, yeah, Duke's got to do it. Like Duke has to do it right now. But like I said, Walton Clayton Jr. Like I think like I got to keep mentioning the guy.
Do it
because he
probably won't do it the rest of the year. So I'm with you.
Exactly. Like I think
college basketball is so dope.
It's interesting to see a guy like that, like who's a veteran, who's got experience, transferred from a different school, from Iona, and just had that veteran experience, and you see him at an upper echelon school, and you're like, oh, okay, that's why we watch the tournament. That's why we watch men's college basketball. Like, granted, with the whole NIL and just the constant movement and conference realignment and everything, people are just like, college basketball is falling off. It's moments like that. It's players like that. It's players like him and Janai Broom. Like, you just look at those guys and you're like, oh, okay, this is why we do this every single year. So, Yeah, I got Duke winning it. I feel like Cooper Flag is just. I feel like he got to complete it now. Like he's done everything else. It's just you. We just talking about Page. You got to go win it. But yeah,
You know what I think this is going to do for Cooper Flag? This is going to put him in, and this is going to help me get to the next part. I don't feel like I'm being like stuck in the moment. This run is going to give us a mellow type feel. And the reason why it's going to give us that mellow type of feel is because I do believe Cooper Flag is going to go to the next level and perform. I also think this is why I brought it up to people too. When people was like, "Oh, well, he was talking about he wanted to stay for another," not gonna happen. I keep reiterating that Cooper Flag practiced with Team USA for the Olympics. That was before this season. He didn't need this season. Why did y'all think he was coming back? Not only is Cooper Flag gone, Cooper Flag is more than likely gone with a national championship, either a title around his waist or at the very least the appearance.
yeah, and no disrespect to Houston because I mean Houston like I mean Kelvin Sampson like just the defensive presence that whole team has like year in and year out. I just feel like when it comes to scoring, it's kind of like the same thing I said, with the whole Auburn Florida situation. I just don't think Houston's going to be able to keep up in terms of scoring. Granted, they stifled Tennessee. That I mean, that game was shocking.
That was facts.
That game was shocking to everybody, and I mean, they ran it up on them. But I feel like Duke is just a different monster. I feel like all of that pressing and trapping is going to kind of backfire on him. I feel like Duke has the size for that. They got a lot of big 6'6", 6'5" type of
And you
guards.
got bigs that can put the ball on the ground. So you do that if you want to. And now we're at the rim with in 5 dribbles.
Yeah, so I feel like that's definitely going to backfire on them. But yeah, I got Duke winning on the men's side. So
Women's side, what do you have? Never mind. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I got So let's see. We got UConn there. Yeah, I got UConn over UCLA. You're right. That might be game of the year.
That game is gonna be fire.
That might be game of the year right there.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I want. I got the winner of UCLA or UConn winning it all. I don't know what the hell happens in that other game.
Like the homer, of course, the homer in me wants to say Texas, but like I think South Carolina's gonna win it in a close one because I feel like they just have too much size, and I feel I've seen their size. I actually got to see them play like their first game of the season against Michigan, and like it's just when you look at somebody like Chloe Kitts down there, I feel like you seen Chatter clutch bucket at the end of the game last game. Like I just think their size and like just their length on the court, it really stifles teams. Or you got guards like Pow Pow who just like they just kind of stifle teams at the right time. They go on runs at the right time. Like
almost like they hit a switch.
Absolutely, like you seen times in that last game where Duke like they were holding on to the game like at the right times, like they went on their runs and stuff, but like it never felt like South Carolina was out of the game. And I don't know if that's more of a credit to like the players themselves or to Don Staley, but
I'm never not giving credit to Don.
me either. By the way, Cole Chanel hoodie she had on last game. But yeah, like
you should put together never mind. Let me not give nobody no ideas.
Yeah, like it's just So yeah, I got South Carolina getting out of that game, and then national championship, UConn. I think Paige is gonna do it simply because she's on fire right now.
She is cooking.
She is on fire right now, and I think like I've seen like. Granted, I've seen like South Carolina change over the course of the season, but when they run into a player like that, that's cooking like that, I feel like they don't necessarily know how to stop someone like that. And I feel like UConn is a little too deep to go through that because
Very true.
like first game of the season, like I said, that Michigan game, I can't remember the young lady's name, but somebody on Michigan, like she was cooking the whole game. And that kept Michigan in the game. Against a team like UConn, if you get somebody like a Ozzie Foote who's if she's hitting threes and Paige just feels like going for 30 plus, oh, you're not winning. You're not winning the game. No, like there's no chance. No, like with Gino, no. And no, you're not winning the game.
Yeah, that's another thing you're asking me to do. You're asking me to bet against Gino with Paige, and I'm not doing it. Like you said, and that team is way too damn deep for me to just say those two names, but I could just stop there if I wanted to. Going to the NBA really quick. 2 quick points. Maybe 3 quick points. The first one is congratulations to Carmelo Anthony. I've said it before a couple of times. Melo reminds me of my big brother. Melo has a certain energy with him that I never covered Melo for like a full season or nothing crazy, but the times that I've talked to Melo, the times that I've interacted with Melo, there's always a rawness to him and a realness to him that you guys know. I'll come out here publicly, and I've said it before, like Dylan Brooks, right? I'm not saying he's like a fake tough guy by no means, but I think a lot of Dylan Brooks, what is believed of Dylan Brooks is online, right? And then you, as a person who's met Dylan Brooks, who's talked to Dylan Brooks, super humble, super respectful guy. It's impossible not to root for him once you meet him, right? To watch the basketball world essentially feel like we had to defend Carmelo Anthony for 2-3 plus years it was always stupid. It became redundant. And I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I stopped doing it. And it became one of those things for me. If you're asking anything about Carmelo Anthony, I have one of 2 things to go tell you. Either you don't like Carmelo Anthony or you should go watch more Carmelo Anthony. There is no in between. Anybody who has watched Carmelo Anthony, it goes back to what I say about Draymond Green, respectfully. You may feel like Draymond's game is nasty. Cool. It is not the NBA Hall of Fame. It is the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Let me explain something to you guys. Melo could have stunk in the NBA. Melo has 25,000 points in the league. Melo could have 2,500 points in the league. Melo would have made the NBA or would have made the Naismith Hall of Fame. That 1 year at Syracuse jumped him about halfway there. Them 3 Olympic gold medals took him there.
For a minute, he had the most gold medals of any Olympic player.
Damn it, KD.
Yeah, it's KD. That's another first ballot Hall of Famer. But
I'm not discussing people that I gotta explain that to. I'm dead ass. I'm not talking to people that I gotta explain that to.
Yeah, I mean, for the people who even question if Carmelo was a first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't want to talk to you. Don't talk to me about basketball ever.
I was mad that it became a thing. Like when they announced it.
No, for real.
It was like breaking news. Carmelo Anthony is. Why is this breaking news? We know. It's like, bro,
any kids,
whatever, bro.
If any kids who never seen. Now, granted, I know in this day and age it's all about rings. Listen, Carmelo is one of the best pure scorers of all time, and if you want to see like just the essence of who Carmelo was, go watch that Western Conference Finals against him and Kobe. Now, let me tell you, as a kid living through that, like in terms of playoff series, I'm like even to this day. Like, granted, seeing my Spurs win championships, that was one of the greatest basketball series I ever seen. Just watching him and Kobe fight it out each and every possession.
Amazing. You kind of just brought it up, right? In terms of Kobe. I want to show this really quick if I can. Please don't let it go away. I think it might have. Was I able to send it? I didn't. Damn. Anywho, I want to shout out really quick to Vanessa Bryant and Nike and just the Kobe sneaker team as a whole. Did you see those forces that are supposed to drop? Those Air Force One collection or that Air Force One collection?
I don't think I see it.
So first of all, the heel of the shoe is an 8. But I just paid attention to this one right now because there's like a cream color one, and it has like where all the writing and all the lettering are on the sneaker. It's like a purple, right? The laces are like they're fat laces. So I didn't notice the laces till now. I'm like, why are the laces fat? They're fat laces and they're like gray and like a dark blue. The fat laces are inspired by the pajama pants that Kobe wore in that picture where he was shooting with his left hand. You want to talk about an automatic cop? I might get them shits in everywhere.
Respectable. I understand. I feel like it's just certain shoes that you. Yeah, no, that's a collector's item. You're not supposed to wear those.
I might have to get those just cause, man. And by the way, Asia Wilson, boy, I got a bone to pick with you. Can't wait to see you at Media Day. The amount of women in my life, my friends that have asked me for them damn shoes.
They so cold though.
I'm getting them. That's why everybody keep asking me for, because they know I'm gonna get them. My mom asked on my Facebook post, and then somebody else was up under her and was like, me too. And I was like, hey, everybody, chill out. Everybody, relax. Time out. Don't do this. Don't do this publicly. Asia, I'm on your head top when I see you, Doug. The fact that they were pink.
Every colorway. So even
the black and pink was made. How long we got to it, man? Honestly, I was gonna go get the pink was originally, and I seen what's the next drop? The pink and black. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I want them. Those are absolutely gonna be my hoop shoes. Not even close.
Like no, definitely. Like no, definitely. I mean, her and Sabrina. Like, I
haven't worn the Sabrinas, but last hoop shoe I had was a PG.
Yeah, I had the PlayStation PGs. I don't like those.
Fire.
Like
you didn't like wearing them, or you didn't like the way they looked?
I don't like hooping in them. Like it feels like something.
PG shoes are fire, bro. I don't know.
Stabbing me in the bottom of my foot. Like I can't hoop in those. But yeah, no. Like just Asia and Sabrina. Like shout out to Nike, man. Shout out to Nike for doing that. Like, I never thought I'd see the day like to where like women's hoop shoes like surpass the men's, because like if you look at Nike right now, like
add Puma to the mix because Stewie is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like usually,
work over there.
Usually, like the men's side is just like dominated with Nike. It's not even close. Like you had the Kyries, KDs, LeBrons, like all these shoes. And right now, you look at Nike, you like, yeah, Sabrina and Asia. Those are the shoes right now.
Yeah, Jordan Brand, get to it. Because I'm not gonna lie, if you just want to talk about popularity, De'Arica Hamby would have had a shoe if it was me.
Yeah,
Jonquel Jones, somebody would have had a shoe if it was me.
Yeah.
Courtney Vanderson, somebody would have had a shoe if it was me. Jordan Brand better go do it. Skylar Diggins-Smith is a Jordan athlete, I believe. Mm-hmm. Or she was a Jordan athlete. She might be Puma now. Somebody is going to have a Jordan shoe if I'm Jordan. Especially if, no disrespect, especially if I'm giving money to Zion and the Pelicans ain't playing them. Somebody going to get this signature shoe. Where's Kalia Copper? She might be it.
She a Jordan athlete?
I don't know.
She should be. She just seems Jordan. You know what? We ain't getting paid for that. Let's go.
That's very true, but I damn near want to call Jordan right now and be like, y'all better figure out when that contract in. Last point really quick. It's taken off really over the last day or so. But the Ja Morant gun gesture. This is what I will say. If you go back to, and he did it he did it last season, or maybe a couple of seasons ago. When you go back to LSU's national championship run with Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, all of those guys, the Get the Gat movement, right? They were in the White House essentially doing what the Lakers are doing now when they hit threes, when the Lakers are up there with it, right? Here's the problem, at least for me. May not be the same thing. I'm going to give you guys a perfect, at least in my mind, what I believe to be a perfect example. I remember I had a friend when I was younger, white kid, who freaked me out because he was the first kid that was double jointed. So when he told me he could take his arms from back here and he brought it over the head, I was like, first thing in my 7th grade mind was, you can get out of handcuffs then. First thing that went through my mind. Whatever conversation I had with him, my parents heard it. My parents let me know very, very quickly, hey, let's just say you are double jointed too. They won't handle you the same way that they'll handle him. That's what you mean. Ja, let's just say you're doing exactly what the Lakers are doing. If we're viewing this as two sides, and one side is the Lakers and one side is you, which side have we caught publicly with firearms? You can't do it, dog. It's just not worth the fight. You've been killing it all year just staying away from bullshit. Why walk into it? You know what this remind me of? This remind me of like everybody, most people had, I don't want to say everybody, a lot of people had a homie in the group that fucked with the teacher all the time. And it could be just one day where the teacher's not even on no board and you just kind of look at your homie, bro, stop.
Chill.
Nigga, you're the problem.
Chill, bro.
Just relax. Everything can go smooth if you let it. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I saw the Ja gun gesture thing 2 days ago and scrolled past it. I'm not doing this again. The fact that for the last 2 days, people have been beating down my damn phone with it. Just stop, fam. You know what? You know another thing too? And I don't mean this to be disrespectfully. I remember T Grizzly said before, I forgot what record it was. He said people always want to go to the hood. And, you know, I fuck with T Grizzly a lot, but his ad lib is one of the reasons why I do. Something the bar said something about they want to go to the hood. And in his ad lib, he was like, for what? We been there. And not to sound like that, but usually the homies that I had in school that was trying to get in trouble came from good households, had great families. You just want to be in trouble, don't you? You think it's cool to be in trouble. You have no reason to act like this. Not saying that's Ja, but if the shoe fits.
I'm like you. When I seen it, I kept scrolling and I was like, he just don't learn. He just don't learn. You first time you got caught. Okay. Second time, after you just got caught, you put out a gun on camera. Your homie trying to save you, putting the phone. Chill. You just said it. You the homie that can't chill. And you know, at first people were starting to look around like, hey, is it his friends around? That moment right there, I was like, no, it's you, Ja.
They tried to save you.
It's you. You're the problem, bro. You're like, bro, chill out, bro. Like it. As soon as he did that, I just thought, I don't know why I thought Gilbert Arenas. I don't know why. Like I thought back to that situation.
Ask Gilbert right now, today, if it was worth it. Because Gilbert Arenas is Gilbert Arenas. Would I have done it? Yeah. Would I do it again? Yeah. Was it worth it? Probably not.
No, he left me.
Gil's career was never the. And the funny thing is, Gil's career wasn't different after the gun situation.
Nope.
Gil's career was different when you didn't take it serious after you got back. Gil's career was shot after that. No pun intended.
He was still hooping in Orlando the whole
You
night.
can't tell me Gilbert forgot how to play ball.
No.
This is a private entity. We don't have to let you in. Same thing I say about UNLV. The quicker you guys realize that it's a privilege, it's exactly what it is, yo. And like I always go back to whenever it comes to this Ja Morant point, I remember my little cousin coming into Summer League and knowing that I was going to be there and knowing that I had the access that I had. I'm like, let me see who they trying to see. All right, who are y'all here for? To hear all of them say Ja when you wasn't even playing? Like I said, for me to have to position them to where they get your autograph, to me having to have conversations with them about how to not be like you should bother you, dog. And the sad part is, I don't think it does. The first time I heard my little cousin, who was 7 years younger than me, I was 18. Take that back, maybe 4 years younger than me, 5 years younger than me. Said some shit that I said in that limo when we were on the way to our graduation party. I said, oh, there are eyes on me. The quicker you realize that, dog, the better off you'll be. Until next time, gang. Keep on talking.
Just be crazy.